Hello everyone and welcome to my DIY tutorial on how to make a baby blanket. Making a baby blanket is probably the easiest and I would say one of the most difficult things to make. Reason being, it's very simple and you don't need much. However, working with such large pieces of fabric does tend to get difficult. I've noticed it's taking me quite a few blankets to finally come up with a system that works with keeping both pieces of fabric together without bunching in any of the areas. However, once you master making a baby blanket, it's probably one of the most cost-effective and nicest gifts that you could give someone. To start, let's go over all of the things that you're going to need. You will need a sewing machine, thread, pins, scissors, starch, an iron, and last but definitely most important, you will need fabric. I have made blankets both with a double lined flannel and a flannel and cotton lined blanket, and I find, especially with like personal use, because I do have a 5-month-old and I did make every one of his blankets, I absolutely love more the double flannel sided blankets. For some reason with the cotton and the cotton seems pretty stiff and it just doesn't seem like that soft of a blanket. It's still really cute, and if you have a fabric that you love that just so happens to not come in flannel, perfectly fine, use it. Just make sure you get a nice soft backing for it. A good backing that would work with that is actually not to do a blanket in flannel and cotton, instead do a minky. Minky is the really soft material that you see that has little bubbles. That is really good fabric to use with cotton. It's thick enough and you get like a really good softness out of it. However, today I have two absolutely beautiful fabrics that I am so excited to be using. I will be making my son a blanket today, and I figured what better time to show you how to make one than when I'm making one for him. So I have this material in this pattern right here. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's the cutest thing ever. And then we're going to do leave it to me to always be a little different. We are going to do a nice buffalo plaid, but a blue buffalo plaid backing. Alrighty guys, so to begin, what you want to do is you basically want to make 1 yard length by 1 yard width. You can actually ask them at the stores to cut 1 yard by 1 yard squares, and that actually makes it a lot easier. The first thing that you want to do is you want to wash and dry your fabrics just to avoid any shrinking, especially with working with flannels. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my one piece of fabric down. We are going to starch it and we are going to iron it and get it as ironed out as possible. What I'm going to be doing as just a shortcut is I'm going to be laying my other fabric over the fabric that I have ironed out already. So I'm just going to continue to lay this right over, making sure that it's even. So we're just gonna do the same thing quickly. Okay, now I'm just gonna go over it slightly. I'm not gonna add enough more starch, but I just wanna make sure that these are laying on top of each other correctly. Okay, so now we are finished with our iron. So now it is time to pin. What I like to do is just spread this out. I like to start with the center of the blanket. This is very tricky. This is the tricky part. You want to start in the center, okay? Pin. Then you want to move up, constantly pushing the fabrics. You don't want any bubbles. This seems incredibly meticulous, but this is how you get a blanket that looks professionally made and you don't get any errors. So follow what I'm doing. It promised you it will be worthwhile. Then you want to go in between those two pins, somewhere along here. I like to vary every other, so pretty much you're just trying to cover the whole blanket, but not using too many pins. Alrighty. Looks like I have, there you go, okay. I'm gonna put one up here, put one over here. So I also like to pin each corner as well. You're also going to want to go around the perimeter. So I usually leave like 1.5 inches. And you just want to go like that. And then when I get to the corner, I put a pin on a diagonal. Alrighty folks, now the best thing to do once you are done pinning is to fold it very so gently, like this, and then fold it again, like this, and then fold it one more time. You now are ready to start sewing your first side. I will do this as well and then bring it over to my sewing machine just like this, and then I will unfold it. Okay, time to sew. Okay, welcome back. So here we go. I'm just going to start off by changing out my thread from brown to black. I was making another blanket earlier. So you guys are going to want to use a straight stitch. On my machine, if you have my machine, I'm going to use number 9. You can probably get away with 9 or 10. Like a fairly large stitch. You don't need a really tight one for this. And plus it'll take you forever to sew it if you use a really tiny one. So I'm just gonna set my needle and here we go. What you're doing here is you're basically just making a perimeter. You are going to be keeping about this much space open so that you can eventually pull the blanket right side in. And what you want to not do that near a corner. I actually kind of did mine a little bit too close to the corner, so I'm going to show you how to go about fixing that. But yeah, so you want to start in the middle of one side and you just want to leave about a gap like that big. When you reach a corner, you just want to keep your needle in your fabric, turn, put your footer back down, and continue on. So your blanket is folded. Remember how we had folded it? So you're just going to want to kind of loosen it a little bit so that you can start going down this side. You'll know what I mean when you're actually sewing. Alrighty, so now I am back at the edge that I started at. Remember I said that I had started too close to the edge? What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go directly right up to where I had started. Just like that. Almost like you're not leaving enough space. Just going to cut these. So you can see here I definitely did not leave enough room to flip this entire blanket over. I did that because look how close I was to my edge. If you start getting close to your edge, it's going to be really difficult to fold these right side in. Just trust me, I want to move this space over. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rip out a few stitches here. I have a tool to do it, but I don't know where the tool is at the moment. You can use scissors or you can use a pin. A pin is actually pretty simple because you can just go in and pull the thread out with the pin. I've used both a scissor and a pin. So I'm just gonna go in. Well, I have now made my hole that big. Now what we are going to do is pull out all of our pins of the blanket. So here we are back at our first station, and our blanket is looking good. Now what we need to do next is, as you can see, there's a lot of excess fabric left over. So here is our hemline, here's all this fabric. We are gonna cut all of this away so that there's not a lot left over in excess. And then we're going to cut our corners so that they can be nice and flat when we flip right side in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that quickly. Okay, it is time for us to flip our blanket right side in. So go to the hole that you had created, that you had left open. Where's mine? Right here. Yay. You know what, actually, first I'm just gonna do one last double check to make sure I got every pin. Yep. Now you're going to go to this hole, and the fun part, what I like to do is I stick my hand right into the blanket and go to the opposite corner, and you just poke the corner and you pull it out like this. Yay. You want to go to every corner and you just want to push them out just to make sure that they're nice and pointy. And then I put my hand into the blanket and I just make sure I hit every corner. I'm gonna lay it flat. Get rid of all the scraps over here. Now, another important step, you want to iron again. That way, when you do the top stitch, it doesn't lay strangely. So I'm just going to pull out, I like to go around the blanket and just kind of pull out the sides, make sure everything's laying flat. But I just do this. I make sure that I iron over the sides. Cool. Now here's the part that you're opening. So what you want to do is make sure this is nice and tucked in. Just like that, along with that side. Cool. Nice and pretty, and then you can iron over this as well. For this blanket, I'm going to do a number 4 zigzag top stitch. I do a zigzag stitch on basically everything. I don't know. I just really like that stitch. So I am at the end. I am just going to cut off my thread and I'm going to tie a knot with the beginning pieces and the end pieces. I like to add 3 knots just to make sure that it stays. Then I'm going to grab my other beginning and piece Well, here we are with our beautiful finished product, guys. Look how nice this is. Oh my gosh, I'm absolutely in love. It is seriously probably the nicest blanket that I've made to date. I have a red buffalo plaid blanket that I made, but it's just double-sided red buffalo plaid. This one is just so cute. I love this pattern. And it's super soft, and it's just extra special, I think, that it has this plaid on the back of it. So I'll definitely make sure to link the fabrics in the description box below. I also, in the description box below, is everything that I use to make this, from the pins to my sewing machine to the scissors that I use. Honestly, go check it out, go click on those links, and like, if you guys need the top quality stuff but at affordable prices, you definitely want to go and look at those. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I hope it wasn't too long. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. I will get back to you as soon as possible. I look forward to seeing all of the blankets that you guys made. Oh, I love it. Alrighty, well, thank you everyone, and I will see you at the next one. Bye!